Yo, what is up? You have found We Like the Blazers. I am Brandon Goldner. I don't know why I'm so suspicious about that, or skeptical, or maybe I'm just questioning my whole identity and my name. Over there, I don't have to question anything. I know who it is. You know who it is. Our friend, your friend, my friend, everyone's friend, Ryan Witty Whitledge. Ryan, what's up, brother?
Not much. I've officially entered the middle-aged dad phase of my life. I was gifted a Traeger over Father's Day, and by gifted I mean I went and picked it up. I was there when it was purchased, so I don't think the wife could have snuck that in the car.
Gifted as in purchased for yourself and said Happy Father's Day to me and put it in your car.
No, it was a discussion that we had for a while because, like, you know, back when we were in our apartment, like, I just had one of those little mini right in front of the apartment patios. You don't really have backdoor space, and like I had my big old orange toolbox that kept all my tools and everything out there, box. And so I just had like this flat top Blackstone grill that we just kind of also was our camping grill, but it just kind of sat there. And since we moved into the house, we're like, yeah, we should probably eventually get a actual decent grill, keep it on the back patio, you know. And then Costco started having a bunch of sales on Traegers leading up to Father's Day. So it was a 1 month discussion. I knew it was coming, but I will now be accepting all future gifts in the form of gift cards from meat shops. So
I like it. You were at a going away party at our house, which was really cool to see you and Sonia here. Traeger was in your vehicle. You declined to set it up on my back patio so we could fire it up, get some meat going. You didn't want me to have any fun with it, Ryan. Damn it.
Did you have any meat available had I set it up?
I'm going to avoid the easy to make joke. No, I did not. So wouldn't have really helped anything, would it have? But it was great to see you, as you will note, and as you on YouTube will note too, because we're doing video. My wall behind me looks a little sad. It's a little more echoey than usual because Cassie and I are, in fact, on our way to the East Coast on Friday. We had the new couple who's going to be staying at our house. Shout out to Ryan and Emily, bring in their first piece of furniture today. And the house is getting more empty. Had my dad over for a couple days. So that was cool. But man, there's a lot that goes into moving, and it's not super fun. And I am tired, and I look at, and I can't wait for this to be over. It's going to be great.
Yeah, this will be your, to New Zealand, back from New Zealand.
Yeah, to the rental.
To the rental, into the house. Right. So this is like your sixth move in 3 years?
Doesn't even count from the apartment in Portland to Cassie's mom's house, then to New Zealand, then to the rental, then to here, then to Connecticut. So yes, sir. There has been so much movement. I want to be done moving, but not for right now. Things are going along. It's pretty good. The other thing I wanted to note, I have to say this for people listening. If you have ever had the proclivity to sing, if you've ever wanted to sing, if you want to get better at singing, please reach out to Jesse Prius at Lydian Music Studio. Jesse's been Cassie and my singing instructor for the last 5 months. And he's just an amazing human being, an incredible teacher. We're going to miss him a lot. We're going to try to take him with us on Zoom. So we're trying to coordinate that. But all to say, we had our singing lessons today. Final one in person before we leave. I'm feeling sentimental, feeling like I must bust out in a ballad, but I'll spare you that. Ryan, what are we hitting on today?
When do the lessons start kicking in?
So Ryan, what are we talking about today? Listen, if you want me to bust out Little Shop of Horrors right now, I'll do it. Do you want me to shout like Les Mis? I'm on it.
I cannot accept Little Shop of Horrors unless you have an animatronic Venus flytrap somewhere in the back corner of that room. It's the only way I can accept it.
I don't. There's no Audrey 2s here. By the way, like Little Shop of Horrors, what a fun romp. Like I had watched it once when I was a kid, and then as we were learning this one particular song, we watched it again. It's really good. It holds up. I mean, it's old, but it holds up. And also, like, we love you, Rick Moranis. Like, glad that you're living your best life in, semi-permanent acting retirement. But like, what a delight! What a delightful romp. Okay, Ryan, what do you have on deck for us to actually talk about during our basketball adjacent podcast in the dead of summer?
Yeah,
it's tough. It's tough. It's tough for everybody.
Yeah, it's it's especially not easy. This is kind of one of those things like when we've talked about like it's not that like high profile of a draft class, you know. I mean, when the Blazers were going in, when they got Shaden Sharp, you know, there were names in there. There were people in there that we
there
knew
were
of.
names. There were definitely
people
some
had names. The amount of head scratching I've had to do when I've seen in the random news feed of like, here's the list of who the Blazers are bringing in for a workout. I'm like, I couldn't tell you if that's a top 10 or bottom of the second round. Like I no clue on where that's going. So it does. Yes, it does make it difficult to talk about Blazers basketball. But there was one little interesting bit of note of Blazers basketball that came out via Sam Quinn of CBS Sports. And it's a topic we rarely cover. It's a topic we rarely talk about. Sometimes we intentionally veer away from it, but it deals with the coaching job of the Portland Trail Blazers. Brandon, are you finally ready for us to talk about the coaching job for the Portland Trail Blazers for the first time on this episode?
Yeah, I think it's only fair, right? Like basketball teams need a coach. Blazers are a basketball team. 2 and 2 make 4, don't they?
Exactly. So for the first time ever on this entire podcast channel, we will talk about something coaching related with the Portland Trail Blazers.
Definitely never done that before, ever.
No, but the piece from Sam Quinn, it was kind of ranking the coaching jobs in the NBA. And I don't know if you've seen this article yet or not, Brandon, but do you know where he happened to rank the Portland Trail Blazers in this?
Let me guess. Not first, not second.
Definitely not first.
Not
no.
Third.
Should I going to Mike Francesa this? No.
Yes.
Don't pull a Mike Francesa. No, they were bottom. They were bottom 5. I will give you that.
So wait a minute, really quick, and maybe you're about to say, is this Sam Quinn, who's a good reporter, and
Yes.
is this him like speculating, or is this him sourcing, or a combination of sourcing and speculating?
A combination.
Okay, fair enough. Yep. Okay, but listen, like I briefly read the article, and this is great radio, Ryan. Here's what I want to ask you though about it. It seems like that bottom 5 determination is based on inexperienced GM and an owner that doesn't seem super willing to like do the ownery things that you would want to see from an owner of a basketball team to make them successful. However, like, isn't it more about like yes, the GM for sure and the owner for sure, the players? And like, it just seems odd to me if I were ranking the worst jobs in the NBA, I think it would be Lakers by a mile due to their roster and the expectations. You know how many expectations in Portland? People are happy if you're in Portland and you wear a flannel shirt on Stark Street, you've become a cult hero. It's a low bar for people to like you as a coach in Portland. There are no expectations. So, I mean, what's your thought about that? Like, I mean,
I do agree that having to put up with an aging LeBron who is going to do everything in his power to try to get his son to be drafted by the Lakers, to put up with and by the way, talk about job longevity. Look at all the entire coaching list for anybody who's coached LeBron. The little bit of the whininess from Anthony Davis and kind of the diva reputation that he kind of has. But the thing that I would say will always put it anywhere near the top 10 in my mind, it's in LA and it comes with a butt ton of money. So that'll cover a lot of warts.
Totally. And like that's fair. And I will say, now that I'm reading the article more closely, first of all, they do not have the Lakers lower than the Blazers. They actually rank them 20th out of 30. Here are the criteria they used, and this makes a little bit more sense now in retrospect. How stable is the ownership? How involved are they in basketball decisions? Is ownership willing to spend money? Have they proven that? How stable is the front office? What type of job security does a coach typically have for the franchise? How talented is the roster today? And how well positioned is that roster for long-term success? So this is actually like, this isn't either speculation or source reporting. This is like analysis.
Well, I would call it
analysis.
Can I meet you in the middle? Speculative analysis?
Speculative report-oriented analysis. Yeah, I mean, look, the Blazers are not one of the best coaching jobs in the league. They're not. I will say this, though. Like, it feels to me, if I were a coach that were coming in to coach a bad team, right, of any stripe, that I would want to make sure that the arc of the team looked like it was pointing up. The Blazers at least have some young talent. The Blazers at least have net positive draft value moving forward, including owning the entire Milwaukee Bucks draft from 2028 to 2030. And I think that really matters when you think about the age of Giannis and the rest of the age of the Milwaukee Bucks. That's huge, plus some other draft picks. So if I'm a coach coming in, like, unlike when Chauncey Billups came in during the Dame era, came into immediate expectations. If you're coming in to coach the Blazers now, you know that they're going to be bad. So, like, and that's the other thing too, like, ranked based on how interested a coach would be in the job. And God, Ryan, maybe I should have simply read the article. What's your reaction to all this? I've been saying a lot of words, like.
It's fine. I would say it's a little weird. The Blazers, in my mind, do not have a downward trajectory, but I'm hard pressed to see it more there being anything more than a straight baseline right now. So there will eventually be an up curve, but
let's compare it to our friends in Los Angeles, where you have
any friends there.
You have Anthony Davis, who's like a star in his prime, but he's injured all the time. You have LeBron James, who's 750 years old, approximately. You have no other players of note in my mind. You have no draft capital, basically at all. You also have an ownership which has mismanaged that team since Dr. Jerry Buss died. So to me, if you're comparing the trajectory of the Lakers to the Blazers at least are graded on a curve. That curve looks like it's going up, again, because they do at least have young players in the door and draft capital coming in the door later. So now look, they're not an Oklahoma City Thunder who has an insane combination of like potential championship ready roster. Plus they own the draft for the next several drafts. That's pretty incredible, which is why the Oklahoma City Thunder was ranked first on this list as the most desirable head coaching job. Makes perfect sense to me. So anyway, I don't know. I think the Blazers being one of the not desirable coaching jobs is fair. I just don't think, I feel like bottom five is maybe a little bit harsh is my take on it.
So, okay, that then my follow-up question, because their official position in this list was which God loves this, the 27th best job in the NBA. Keep in mind there are 30 of them. So I very much feel the verbiage of 27 best. 27th best is doing a lot of work in that sentence.
The article itself ends up just going team by team in reverse numerical order. They have the Hawks, the Wizards, and the Bulls being the only teams as less desirable coaching jobs. Look, I'm looking now above the Blazers. And so, 26, 25, 24, Pistons, Hornets, Suns, all those three teams I'd say are worse situations. Then you get to the Raptors. I don't know. Like that's kind of like a coin flip. You get to the Nets. I don't know. Like that's anyways. I'm not quibbling too much with this. I simply think there are teams who definitely have less desirable coaching jobs, and the Lakers being at 20th seems like it's way too high.
Yeah. I'd actually say that's way too low for the Lakers. Again, I'd keep them in top 10 just based off money and money and location. You don't, and as the Lakers, you don't need draft assets because of money and location.
But it's incredible
that there will always be talent.
Despite the money and location, Ryan, they have managed to be just not that good. Well, they won a bubble title. Okay, let's look. I'm being a little, but like. They have managed to be out of the playoffs, I think, more often than the Blazers since Dr. Buss died. And you can fact check me on that, but I think that's true. Whereas Portland absolutely does not have, they have neither money nor location. So I don't know, man. Like, I want to turn everyone's attention to my background now. If you're catching us on YouTube, This is what it looks like in Portland, Oregon right now. So sometimes it can be quite nice. I just opened my window so you can get the view of the tropical beach wafting in the background.
If you go cat lawyer after this, I'm out. I'm logging off.
I do love messing with these. Anyway, sorry.
But by the way, bubble title. That was old news, dude. You're gonna just disrespect the in-season tournament winners like that?
They did hang a banner after all, did they not?
Yeah.
All right. What do we next? What do we got next? Okay, coaching job isn't that great in Portland. Okay, fine. Actually, can I do the transition?
Sure.
Can I do it?
I thought you did. You just told me I was done talking about the previous topic.
I really just need
factory line assembly here.
I know I'm not. I haven't had. It's 5:30, and so I should be. Maybe having a nip of the old alcohol to help lubricate my thoughts and my emotions as we do this podcast. I should just simply be more confident, Ryan. That's what they say, is that white men are lacking confidence and always have. I'm just kidding.
It's from the years of oppression. It's really worked against us.
Absolutely, it's really been stacked against us, hasn't it?
Yep.
Listen, we're going to move on from Blazers, one of the worst coaching jobs in NBA. Okay, fine. Ryan, where is their coaching staff? Where is their coaching staff? Where are the assistant coaches? They fired Chauncey Billups' brother. They fired Scotty Brooks. They got rid of some other people whose names I can't even remember. And meanwhile, other teams are picking up coaches left and right. They're filling out their staff. They're hiring head coaches and then hiring the assistants. And meanwhile, Chauncey Billups is like the Will Smith meme looking around. Where the hell are my assistants? What is the problem in Portland? Why can't they hire assistant coaches? Well, I don't understand.
Step one, I've always believed it to be that the, assistant coaching positions and whatnot were the job of the coach to fill out. And it always felt to me like the Scott Brooks and his brother getting axed was not a Chauncey Billups decision. It feels like they got fired out from underneath them. And so now he's like, well, hey. And so like these assistant coach positions, like it's one thing if your assistant goes in interviews for a head coaching job, you can kind of then put out some feelers to relationships. I've equated it to that Chauncey got a slow start because it was a surprise to him that he had to do any searching. But now I'm just starting to get the impression that they're not letting Chauncey do the searching.
No. And I was about to say, I don't think it's always up to the head coach to fill out their staff. I do think, especially on a crappy team with an inexperienced coach, I do think that you have the team having significantly more say about the staff. Now, it depends, right? Like if you're a Greg Popovich, if you're a Steve Kerr, if you're an Eric Spoelstra, I would assume they have significant, if not complete, autonomy as to how to fill out their staff. But I do think it varies. I think to your point, you're right. I think you're right. The Blazers clearly have more control over the assistant coaches than does Chauncey Billups alone. And honestly, it's getting awkward because, and listen, people smarter than me have said this, when you do something like that, where you let go of the lead assistant, you let go of the head coach's brother, that sends a signal of, boy, Mr. Billups, your time is wearing a wee bit thin. Don't you want to get a job somewhere else, Mr. Billups? And no, we don't want to buy you out. So it is unfortunate. It does feel a lot like a cheap team trying to push out the coach. I think that's what's happening here. I think that they're intentionally trying to make it weird. And actually, the only thing I'm surprised about is that something hasn't squeaked public about Chauncey Billups, blah, blah. I mean, you did have, who's the reporter? Is it Chris Mannix, the guy who's basically locked in with Chauncey Billups saying, oh, lots of teams would be interested in him. But yeah, doesn't it seem kind of weird? Are you not weirded out by this?
Weirded out, I was, until again, that I just don't think that I do think there is something to it's the make it uncomfortable. It's the old crappy landlord. I want you to move out so that I can raise the rent.
Doesn't that make you feel weird? Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
That's weird.
It is. But I was going to say, and the weird side is that you now have to take the position that you're defending that Chauncey should stay and they should give him a better shot. How does that make you feel?
That's a good, actually, that's a brilliant turn that you just did right there. Boy, that's real good psychology. Yeah. Here's the real deal. The real dope I think that if you have a head coach, you should not make him feel weird, question mark. The thing that's on the line here is not wins and losses next year. The thing that's on the line here is an environment in which players like Shaden Sharp and Scoot Henderson can develop. Are they going to be in an environment where they can develop if their head coach is weirded out, uncertain about his future, doesn't have a staff around him, can't prepare during the summer? Like, this is not great kind of longish term for development of young players. So like, yeah, that's the part where it's sure, if you're going to keep Billups, then maybe don't do this. Really, the answer is please just fire him. A couple $1 million. His contract is one of the lowest in the league. And by the way, we now see the salary of NBA coaches has, right? Like the since Monty Williams got his deal and since teams realized, hey, there's no salary cap for coaches, the market has strongly corrected, knowing that coaches are important. And so he's one of the least paid coaches in the NBA. Please just pay him off and get him out of here.
I'll be interested to see that market correction in a couple of years, by the way, when a lot of these guys that have gotten some of these big money deals, if things don't start working out or star players start saying they don't like this coach, and it now suddenly becomes a lot harder to make the decision to fire them. But
I don't.
I agree. How quickly do you think the entire city of Portland could crowdsource the money to pay Billups to not coach?
You know,
what's it, 600,000? No, 300,000 people in the city of Portland are about.
You know, for just 60 cents a day, Ryan, you could feed a Chauncey Billups getting a different job. It wouldn't really take that much, would it? Like, honestly, no. But and you know, related to this, we do have news is not quite the right word, but some chatter about
rampant speculation.
Well, not quite, because at least it's coming from a couple people who we know and trust. But
informed guesswork.
And well, let me complete the thought, and then you can make fun of it. How's that? The former Pacers coach and I think current Toronto Raptors assistant Nate Bjorkgren has been in attendance at the Blazers pre-draft workouts, at least as of a couple of weeks ago. That was reported by Sean Highkin. And then you have Mike Richmond of the Locked On Blazers podcast not reporting this, but this is, I guess, maybe the speculation of which you speak, but that sources outside of the organization believe that Nate Bjorkgren has been hired, but they haven't announced it yet. So my question to you, Ryan, have the Blazers secretly hired their next head coach?
Why? Why are they so fucking weird? Why can't they do anything
That's
normal?
What I'm saying. I know. I don't know.
Maybe, possibly. Just
I want your hot take on this. Yeah, this is weird. This is all weird.
If they have, guess what? They just wasted a Friday just this past weekend. You announce it on Friday at 5:30. Like if you're trying to hide it, it is such weird effing news. Why do we have to be fans of such a weird fucking team?
By the way, I hate my lighting. I mean, I know I'm tired and it has hit my face, unfortunately. Like, geez, the lighting here is terrible. Here's why I asked you this question, okay? Actually, for those of you not on YouTube, just listen to my voice and just imagine how energetic and youthful I may look right now. But like Nate Bjorkgren, I'm not saying so. Have the Blazers hired their next head coach? I'm not saying that they definitely are going to imminently fire Chauncey. What I'm saying is that if Nate Bjorkgren has been hanging out at the workouts and something's happening and he's going to be hired, and he's hired as the lead assistant because he has a ton of experience, right? Same way Scotty Brooks had a ton of head coaching experience. Nate Bjorkgren only has a little bit of head coaching experience, but he's overqualified as an assistant or at least properly qualified to be a lead assistant. Let's put it that way. That maybe this is the person who's going to be sitting on Billups's bench and then replace him later, which is also very weird. So that's all. Like, I don't know. Like, what do you make of this? Can you formulate a hot take from this chatter, this Blazers related informed speculation?
If this is a master plan to hire a lead assistant to then take over for Chauncey, It couldn't have been a sexier name. Like that's the one you could have. That's out of all the other coaching names that are out there. Like
Well,
this is the
Blazers
one
are
that
the 27th least favorable head coaching job.
The under cover of darkness hire that you still are not announcing or confirming, and we're left to wildly speculate and hear rumors about that. That's your master plan. Like, and that's who it is. I mean, I'm sure, great guy, but
I still want Jim Moran. I mean, what he's been doing on the remix, I think, has been pretty admirable. And that's a tough coaching situation where people are cycling in and out and you can't really run everything you want to run. But he has held that team together. And I know it's a G League franchise, but their first year in the league damn near made the playoffs. I don't know. I'd like to see Jim Moran get a shot, but whatever. I hear from here we go. I have some irresponsible reporting, Ryan, myself.
Oh God. Ooh, I love it. I hate responsible reporting.
I have it from an unnamed source that even though Jim Moran's contract, I don't think has been finalized with the remix, that he is definitely returning to the remix next year. So we do know that, or at least I think that we know that, which is cool. And again, I think he's a good coach. Anyways, yeah. Anything more on this topic before we pivot to something else after a wee break?
I don't think so. Just again, stop being weird. Right. Blazers,
stop
like it. Put in the managerial level of caring. Put in the managerial level of caring that you currently have for the remix.
Mr. Cronin,
I don't know, the main team.
Mr. Cronin, stop it. Okay, Jody Allen.
Actually,
stop.
You know what would help? What would help? If the Portland Trail Blazers had a president of basketball operations. That would probably help things.
There is a man in Philadelphia who could slide right into those Italian loafers. All right, we're going to take a break. Enjoy the interlude music, and we'll be back with you in just 2 seconds.
Okay, and so Brandon, for our final topic today, I think I'm just going to keep all of this within the coaching news and chatter. But this was something, some of it's a little bit old, but it's still kind of relevant. But the Lakers, as we mentioned earlier, they're still in the midst of a coaching search. And in this whole journey of theirs, it first came out, as was reported by one's Shams Charania, that JJ Redick was a favorite for the job. His name had been kind of floated out there.
They were zeroing in. They were lasering in. What did he say?
Something along those lines. Yeah, I can't remember the exact tweet, but it was something along those lines. And a funny thing happened when he had made that announcement, and that was that the betting lines massively moved. And to go from JJ Redick being a plus money to a minus money, which for those of you who are not gambling degenerates like one Mr. Goldner and I are, that means that you would have, if you bet $100, you'd win, a minuscule amount as opposed to a plus is more of a long shot bet. That was a horrible description. Don't care, standing by it. But anyways, and then about a month or so went by and news came out that from Adrian Wojnarowski that Dan Hurley was getting lured away from the University of Connecticut, and it came off as though it was signed, sealed, and delivered, and the betting market swung again. But can
I add some color really quick? Go ahead. Yeah. Did you listen to Woj's pod after he reported that?
I refuse to listen to that man's podcast.
That was the most how do I even want to put this? If simping for someone had just kind of turned into a podcast and there were a definition of simping in podcast form in the dictionary, it would be that podcast. Would the Lakers be lucky to get him? By the way, Adrian Wojnarowski wrote a book on the Hurley family 10 years ago. And when Woj then appeared on TV to report this news, the book is like, imagine it being in the background of your stuff, right? Like the book is sitting and it's
he has the book right there on the wall.
Totally. No, it seriously was. He's so Hurley's so good. He's going to have to make a real tough decision about whether to take this Lakers offer. It was honestly so gross and unethical. Like I couldn't let you continue without saying that.
Speaking of unethical, so seeing as that Dan Hurley kind of out of left field decided that no, he was going to remain at UConn as their coach. Shams, as the one who initially reported the Redick news, has a deal with FanDuel, has sponsorships with FanDuel.
Interesting. Were you just saying that the betting markets moved around a little bit?
And that's the question I have for you. How likely are you to, one, trust the reporting? Because, I mean, in basketball, there's two names. It's Woj and it's Shams. But how likely are you to trust the reporting of somebody that you know has a sponsorship with a betting website that stands to come in with profits based on how the lines move and could manipulate it with a tweet?
And to my point, too, how likely are you to believe a reporter who has written a book about a family that he speaks with such admiration for their father and for Bobby Hurley and Dan Hurley and how great they are? And, they're real New Jersey boys, but Dan's really gotten his emotions under control. Didn't you know that? Like, yeah, man, this is gross. Actually, this is wonderful. I'm so glad this is the topic. This is
I don't equate the Woj thing and Shams thing. The Woj, we know. Woj could not carry any more water for the teams that he reports on than he does.
Well, okay, it's illustrative. It's illustrative. That's fair. It's illustrative of a larger point, which I think you're making, and maybe you're not making this, but that we can't trust the reporting, man, because we don't know whose interest is being, represented, whose water's being carried, which FanDuel or Bet Online or Real GM or whatever bullshit betting thing you use is sponsoring some dude's reporting. It's all really frustrating and gross. And here's what I'll say. Like, I know that it's just sports. I would love to see better regulation specifically around sports reporting, because sports is supposed to be what? It's supposed to be spontaneous. It's supposed to be, entertaining because it's not pre-scripted. And I don't think that it feels very strange to me that you can have reporting that seems like it's literally made up to serve some suitor.
Yeah. And I mean, like to do like a cross sports reference or whatnot, I was amazed that there wasn't a bigger deal made about Shams reporting on that kind of stuff and the lines moving, because, in the NFL a couple of years ago, and I can't remember the player that it was in response to, I think it was a Kansas City Chiefs player, but Adam Schefter, who is the Woj of the NFL, got caught legit before he sent a tweet after some negative news came out, sent the copy and pasted the tweet to that player's agent and was like, "Is this cool?" Like basically getting permission to fact check that stuff. And so that's dirty. And there was a lot of blowback on that. But also where I'm curious with like the sham stuff, the NBA itself and sports in general are leaning more into making gambling socially acceptable, which, by the way, again, I'm a gambling degenerate. I'm all for. But when you also have alternate broadcasts that you can watch that are officially licensed and promoted by the NBA of the NBA finals, where it is doing nothing but talking about live over-unders and first quarter point totals and all these things as the game is going on, it just seems dirty that one of the top two reporters that we all associate our news breaking with has a foot in the door with one of these gambling companies.
Ryan, I didn't hear a word you said after Adam Schefter cleared a tweet with someone's agent, are we going to pretend that doesn't already happen in the NBA? Are we going to pretend like Chris Haynes is not clearing tweets with Dame? Are we going to pretend that Chris Mannix isn't clearing tweets with Chauncey Billups? Are we going to pretend that Woj wasn't clearing tweets with Neil motherfucking Olshey? Dude, this already happens and we know it. And that's the thing that's weird is that, like, to your point, like I'm not familiar, so you can tell me. But about Adam Schefter and whatever fallout happened from the NFL stuff, Schefter, whatever, Chef Gordon Ramsay, whatever his name is,
Adam Chef Boyardee.
Exactly. Are we going to? By the way, the proper pronunciation is Boiardi, but he thought that as an Italian that people wouldn't be able to pronounce his name in America in the 50s, so they went with Boiardi. Are we going to sit here in our very comfortable computer chairs with our really well-appointed walls and our blank walls? We're going to pretend like this shit doesn't already happen in NBA reporting? Of course it does. And the question is, what is anyone going to do about it? Because it sucks. It does suck as a fan to not be able to trust, hey, something's coming out from a Woj or a Shams, and now it's blowing up and everyone's writing articles about it. But we have no idea whether it's true, objective. It sucks. That's all.
And that's kind of one of the things that made me a little sad that the Shams thing wasn't a bit of a bigger story, because in all honesty, like it sounds stupid, but you know, if you want, like the easiest way to get regulation going on anything is to tie it into gambling. And how many congressional hearings have we seen of things related to gambling and sports over our lifetime? Tons. So if you now have a tied-in news insider who does his own carrying water for players, I mean, it's long been known that like the line of demarcation is that Shams is more tied into agents and players, and Woj is more tied into front offices and like the coach agents or whatnot. But again, it's you have these insiders who are getting their news that are affecting gambling markets, which in a sense is affecting money in and out of people's pockets and billions of dollars flowing through an industry.
It seems like a bit of a problem.
I would be incredibly interested to where if anything like that was ever looked into more, how much that could affect a required transparency from media such as Woj or Shams, for as much as it could butt up against First Amendment and journalists having to relate sources. You know, there's all sorts of litigation with that. But I do agree, it feels dirty. But it feels even more especially dirty to me when it's stuff that's tied to gambling in a time when the sports leagues themselves are leaning more and more towards not even just accepting of gambling, but moving on to promoting it themselves.
And I think what you're getting at, I mean, you're looking at the fiduciary financial impact of this stuff, which is fair because in America, money talks. No one gives a shit about Brandon thinking it's icky. They do care if Ryan's money's on the line. I think that makes sense. But I think
I would like everyone to care about my bets, please. More.
I would love everyone. Can everyone start caring about Ryan's bets right away? But like this is a larger thing for me as someone who worked at a newspaper, right? Like, and someone who cares about journalism and used to be a reporter and pretends like he can still write sometimes. That we want to be able to craft our understanding of the world using facts as often as possible. We can have opinions about those facts then, right? We can take those facts, we can think whatever we want about them, right? Like our life experience, our proclivities, what have you. And it's really damaging and really bad when we can't agree on what facts are. And I think that reporters making shit up for their Dan Hurleys or their Bet Onlines or their Neil Olsheys or whoever is damaging to our understanding of the world, and it's not good. And when you extrapolate that outside of sports into people making political decisions, and actually, here's what I'll tie this back in. People's understanding of sports impacting their willingness to say, I don't know, provide public funding for a new basketball arena. For example, like it's not unheard of, or it wouldn't be totally out of the question to think that like enough fake sports reporting eventually changes people's willingness to publicly fund an arena. As that's the best example I can come up with. But like, it sucks, man. I don't know. And it's just not good. That's my opinion. That's my hot take. Not good.
Can concur. Not good.
All right. Well, we've sorted that. Done.
I think the last thing I got is I'm hoping that after tonight I get to take a victory lap. I believe the last time we recorded, there was a you and Sprague said Mavs in 6 or 7.
You're really going to bring up the past, Ryan? You're going to dig into my podcast closet and pull out the skeleton of my finals predictions? Really?
Well, because it's not just you. I get a shit on 2 Brandons for the price of 1 right now. So I am taking this bulk
2
buy.
Oregon State fans for the price of 1.
I had my digs last time. I was going to leave that on the table. You brought it into it, but yeah, I'm just here to.
Can you remind the audience what my finals prediction was?
I believe you had Mavs in 6.
I believe I said Mavs in 5, which is no longer mathematically possible.
No, okay. I was giving you the benefit of the doubt on that. Then maybe it was Sprague that had said 6. So
I think Sprague said 6 because he's not an insane person like me. Yeah.
No,
which at the time
also
seemed
mathematically
reasonable.
Impossible. Mathematically impossible right now.
Wait, I have a funny. Can I just as the game has started and with a few minutes left in the first, Celtics up 3. History will be made, Ryan, because at the same time, 2 things are currently true. 1. No team has come back from an 0-3 deficit. Second thing that's true, no team has won a final series having lost a single game by 38 or more points. History will be made because in game 4, which I think this is the funniest thing ever. By the way, how did Dallas do that exactly? I didn't watch the game. I admit
I don't know. I turned it on like midway through the first quarter and I was like, ooh, that's ugly already. I have no interest in this.
Yeah. And look, is Kristaps Porzingis? Oh, he's playing. Okay. Never mind. I'm just looking at the box score right now. And so I don't know, man, this is probably one of the least interesting finals. As much as I actually enjoyed. I like the playoffs, by the way, unlike some people. The finals, this is it's one team is much better than the other, and that's not great, Game,
and the NBA has got to be kicking themselves that, game 1, it was all right, Boston came out, they felt they had something to prove, absolutely kicked ass. And then it was, okay, well, Dallas has had all these comebacks throughout the playoffs. Of course, they're going to make it a game in game 2. Nope. And after that, I think everybody's level of caring went absolutely out the window. But the only thing I care about is that the Celtics, for as much as, trust me, as a Patriots fan, the city of Boston does not need any more parades. They get plenty. But the only thing I care about is that Boston's able to close this out in 5, so I can, play the tape and be right. Because you know me, Goldner, I love being right.
You do love being right. You love being right even more than your Traeger, which I believe your meal is going to be done soon. So unless you have anything else, I would like to say, if you want to reach out to us, you can always do that. Are we good? We good to go?
Yeah. You just killed the vibe though. Geez, now we got a whole nother topic so you can naturally go into it.
It's my bit. I'm doing that now. I start it, I pause, I keep going. Everyone laughs. I get applause. I feel good about myself.
Inside baseball people, he's got a little chat window. It's easy. He can just say, "We good?"
I could do that, and maybe at some point the bit will get stale. Wait, one more completely random shout out. I want to shout out to the Pickle Toots, my intramural soccer team, a team that I had the pleasure of joining. And we had our last game, Ryan, yesterday before we leave for Connecticut. Cassie and I both play on this team. I want to say that my dad was also in attendance, which is pretty cool. He was staying with us here for a few nights. He was in attendance. By the way, my shout out to my dad. He attended basically every fucking basketball game I ever had as a kid. And I had a lot of them. So love you, Dad. Thank you for that. He was there. We won 6-1. Cassie scored a goal. Brandon scored a goal. That's right. Little baby Brandon on his little baby deer legs. Because I'm bad at soccer. I'm new at it. Anyway, the Pickle Toots, you all have been so incredibly generous and like very patient with me as a new player. Y'all are awesome. I cannot wait to rejoin you next year. So shout out to the Pickle Toots. But if you want to reach out to us, you can always do that at WeLikeTheBlazers.com. You can catch me at GoldenPDX on Twitter. You can catch him at TheWittyRyan. You can also, if you want to, email us at WeLikeTheBlazers@gmail.com, although nobody ever has, and I don't think anyone ever will. But shout out
We're going to be flooded now.
Shout out to Rogue Media. We're proud to be part of Rogue Media and part of the Blazers Edge family of podcasts, which includes Trail Daddy with Dave Deckert and includes Rip City Roundtable with Corey Dickman. Until next time, appreciate you all. Good to talk, good to chat, good to see you. Hopefully, actually, next time you see me, I'll be in Connecticut. Hopefully, my lighting will be better. And until next time, go Blazers.
Go Blazers. And email me your Traeger recipes.
Do email him your Traeger recipes.